Hello everyone! In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a React form that interact with Django framework. Let's get started. First of all, we have this Scratch project that you can download from my GitHub repository. I will leave the link in the video description below. So let's run this project. In this video, I'm going to use PyCharm community version. If we have an app posts in static folder, under plugin, we have all the React and Babel libraries maintained in the React folder. In template folder, we have base.html. In post app, we have a template as well. And under template, we have an index.html in post folder. So let's start from a CSRF script that we need for a post request. So in this tutorial, the form gonna invoke a post request. If you know Django post request, it requires a CSRF token need to be passed through the HTTP request. So that's a must. We are going to create this CSRF script into a static folder, dist, and JS folder. So let's create a new JavaScript file. Let's name it CSRF token.js. So we need to build get cookie function and CSRF token get cookie CS token. Then declare another CSRF token. This CSRF token that returns column and input. This input would be HTML input, which represents a CSRF token field. So definitely it's gonna be a hidden field. CSRF middleware token, value being, CSRF token. So the get cookie function would get the CSRF token from the cookie in the browser, and this CSRF token would be filled into the value of this input. This input will be exported as a React component for the form we're going to use. So Django documentation has covered the way how to get the cookie, how to get CSRF token from cookie, so you can do your research on Django documentation. You should be able to find it. So what I'm typing right now, you can definitely find the same stuff in Django in Django document. Okay, rather than typing, I would just go to Django website and copy and paste the code. Let's make sure we get everything we need. So, under Ajax, this is what we need. Copy and paste over. And that's it. So, double check CSRF token is declared by invoking getCookie function. And getCookie will look up CSRF token in browser, and CSRF token value will be put into the input, and the entire input is a form field component. So that will be all for this CSRF token. We're going to use that later on. Next step, we are going to write the form and place the form component in template. So let's go to index.html, impose app, submit. We would like to render the form component in this division, and we can name it, registration form. Okay. This is where we're gonna render the component, form component. Then what we need to do is to create a React form in a JavaScript file. We are going to maintain this script in post app, and since it's a JavaScript file and it's exclusively for this post app, I would like to maintain it in static folder under post. So I'm going to create static folder. In this folder, create another folder, post, impose, create, let's name it registration form.js. Okay. So the form we are going to build is a form that you can, fill in your first name, last name, and you can go step 1, then go to step 2, and eventually you can submit this form. So it's a form widget rather than a very simple form. So I'm gonna show you what the form would look like in minutes. So let's move on in this JavaScript file. So first of all, we need use strict. If you watch my previous video on React Basic, use strict. For some reason, that's required. React.create element. Then we're going to declare a form. Declare a React component. And eventually we are going to export, and we're going to render this form. in its respective division. React DOM.render. Document.get element by ID. And the ID is registration form. Double check in template, make sure that's correct. Registration form. Okay, that's correct. So the form gonna have 3 fields: first name, last name, and email. Now we are ready to write the content of the form. So rather than typing everything in it, I would just copy and paste what I have already in the GitHub, and I will explain it in a minute. So first piece is constructor. If you know React, constructor is a must for each React component. And the properties state includes 3 fields that we're gonna keep track of: first name, last name, and email. Current step represents the current step that the user is in the GUI. Total step indicate the total number of steps that would help to control the GUI. Go to next, go to previous click, that controls the action of previous button and next button. Handle change controls any change that has been made in the field that would change the respective field in state. Handle submit, this controls the submit action. So we have a button. When the user click on this button, that will invoke the handle submit function. Handle change, like what I mentioned. So what it does is whatever the user revised, added, that will update respective field in the state. Go to next click. The next button, when we click it, that will hide the current field in step 1 and show the field in step 2. And go to previous click. This is the other way around. Handle submit, it's quite simple. I just use console to show a message. It does not do anything. So render, this is a critical piece, and this function returns the GUI. So it starts from, we declare current step, total step, and they are equal to the current step and total step in state. And the visible field, this variable represents the template in React syntax. So it's a division, and division use Bootstrap as the front-end framework. The field is controlled by the class dNone. dNone is a Bootstrap class. You can find documentation on Bootstrap website. In each input, we build the onChange event handler, and we also populate the data and make sure the value in the field is identical to the value in the state. And finally, we return a form, and in this form, CSRF token is what we just created. We're going to use this CSRF token field component and place that into the form as a hidden field. So visible field, that is from visible field declared here. So it has 3 fields. There are 3 buttons. 2 buttons controls the GUI, and the last button submit the form. Let's go to index.html, and we need to import this registration forms.js along with the CSRF token.js. Source is static list.js CSRF token.js. Okay, and next we need to import registration form.js. CSR source that equals to post and registration form.js. And in addition, we need to indicate the type of script. It's Babel syntax. It's a Babel type text. Babel. So let's run project and see. So let's run project and see what we have. Post. Okay, here we go. Let's try something. Hello world. Go to next. Okay, so the first name, last name are hidden, and email field is showed up. So hello@computer.com, and we can also go back, and the data is filled already. Next, and if we click submit, that will invoke an exception. We will fix that in next step. In next step, we are going to create a Django form so that the React form in the front end can interact with a Django form in the back end. Django can help us validate the data if we declare a form which is identical to the front end. So in post app, I'm going to create a new Python file, forms.py, and in forms.py, import form, and declare a form So form. So as a total, we have three fields. First name, use widget. Widget is not very important in this case because widget usually is used when we render Django form in Django template engine, and template engine will look into widget and render the way widget declared. So in this case, we don't actually need widget, but it's totally fine to put widget in it. But it will do nothing. Okay, max length gonna work to validate the total length of the string the user put into. Label does not work because we would never use template engine. So it's the same concept to widget. So if we use Django template engine, that will work. But it's fine, we leave it there. Okay. Then last name is similar to first name. Okay, make sure we change that to be last name. Email is close to that, so email we are going to use an email field, and Django will validate email pattern. If it's invalid, that will invoke an error in the form. I will show you pretty soon. It's a text input, and for email, let's give it 254, and label is email. Okay. Then form is complete. Next step, we need to go to views.py and modify this request function, this view function, and we need to add some validation of form. We also need to add another case for post request because our form will invoke post request. So in the registration form, the way to tell if form will invoke a post request is to look into the method that is declared in form template tag. So let's go back to views.py, and we're gonna add some code. Okay. First of all, let's declare let's declare a context dictionary. Okay, by default, form is none, and form equals registration form. Right, so don't forget to import form from post or form registration form. Okay. By default, form is an empty form instance. So next is if it's a GET request, which means the user is direct into this page at the first place. In that case, we can alter context dictionary, and the form need to be the form. Okay, and second case, we need to build some code for post request. So for post request, first of all, we need to initiate a form instance, pass whatever user field in front end. Post. Then we can update contact dictionary form. Okay. If form is valid, we will do something, and else we will need to let Django know some error message, and the error message can be displayed in template through message framework. The message framework is already imported at the beginning. So in this case, form is invalid. It's gonna be an error, and it needs to be associated with a request. And the error message is something wrong in form. Okay, if everything is good, and we can simply need to dump clean data. We can print cleaned data, and messages. We're gonna show a success message in front end. In that case, it's gonna be success. Again, it's associated with a request, and your data has been submitted. Okay, we're gonna fix this return. So let's start project and see what we have. So, okay, run project. I'm gonna fill in hello, word. Next, hello, 123.com, and submit. So this time, it does not invoke an exception. Let's log into the console. In console, it printed the clean data the user filled into. We are pretty close to complete the entire piece. So what is missing here is the message that we can tell the user your stuff is submitted successfully, or either something is wrong in the form. So let's move on. Go to index.html and build a division for message. So we're gonna build a new division. Okay, just content. Okay, and container fluid. Okay, so first piece is message framework. Is the message from message framework. In that case, if there is a message, for each message in messages, we are going to loop messages and display different type of message and color them based on the message status. So if message tag represent the status of message. If it's arrow, let's say we alert danger. So it's an arrow, so it's red, and it's danger. Else, for example, if it's success, or info, depends. Rows equals alert. The reason that we need to put danger and the other status into two conditions is that's because of Bootstrap. So in Bootstrap, the class alert danger indicate arrow, but unfortunately, Bootstrap would prefer danger rather than arrow. So that's the reason we have to build two conditions to render this alert. Then endif. And now it's the time to render message and close division. Next, we are going to render form arrow. So it's arrow, so everything is danger. Since it's arrow, everything in the alert should have red color, which you know it's alert danger. So if form has arrow, and okay, so division class it's alert and it's alert danger, row is alert. So arrow in general has two kinds. One is a non-filled arrow, the other is filled arrow. So if it's non-filled arrow, dump all non-filled arrow this way, and use a for loop to render all filled arrow. Fulfilled from and for arrow in filled the arrows. And for okay, and now we can render arrow. Okay. Okay, let's run project This time we should be able to see messages. Hello world. Next. hello123.com and submit. Okay, it's displaying messages. We just need to figure out the layout. I think this is not the best place to place message division. We need to place under breadcrumb. We need to place within this division. Let's check again. Okay. Hello world. hello.com. Submit. Yep, here we go. Let's try bracket. Hello world. And in email, we can type something not close to email pattern. Let's put some random character into it and submit. Then it will show something is wrong in form. That's exactly what we would expect. At this point, we have completed everything. Thanks for watching this video. If you're interested, leave a comment and see you in the next one.